I want to start with a room, my dad's office. It could be any office, really. When I open the door, the first thing I notice is paper. Not one active file, not one organised pile. Small bundles on every surface. Envelopes opened and left half-folded. Bank statements mid-reconciliation. A notebook open, a sentence unfinished, pen resting diagonally, as if he has just stepped out. There's activity in the room, and yet not completion. When we talk, it's similar. We begin in one place and then we drift. A question turns into a memory, which turns into another topic entirely. Threads get picked up and then put down again. Some never return. It's not explosive chaos. It's simply uncontained. And most of us have a version of that somewhere in our lives. It might be browser tabs open across 3 different devices. It could be half-written emails. Projects started with enthusiasm only to be left hovering. Commitments made without a clear container to hold them. Decisions you intend to make soon. Nothing is fully broken, and yet nothing is fully closed either. For a long time, I thought structure was the problem. My early career was in finance, columns, reconciliations, audit trails, month-end, quarter-end, and year-end rhythms, balance sheets that had to balance. It was rigid, and I never felt like I belonged. So when I left, I didn't just leave the job, I rejected the whole structure. Spreadsheets felt restrictive, processes felt confining. I told myself I wanted freedom, creativity, space, and I created it. No fixed working hours, no defined weekly rhythm, decisions made instinctively, offers built as I felt inspired, administration handled when it became unavoidable. At first, it felt expansive. Over time, however, it became expensive. Not immediately financially, rather energetically, mentally, emotionally. When everything is flexible, nothing fully holds. There are constant micro decisions, constant reorienting. Emails begin to dictate your day. Other people's urgency shapes your schedule. Inspiration determines output. There's a certain pride in being able to respond quickly, to build as you go, to fly by the seat of your pants. However, flying without instrumentation requires constant correction. What I slowly recognized was that the lack of rhythm leaks energy. It creates invisible instability. When there is no conscious structure, unconscious structure forms, usually around urgency, avoidance, whatever shouts the loudest. Reintroducing structure wasn't about returning to the corporate rigidity. It was about creating containers, defined work blocks, clear financial tracking, set review points, boundaries around availability. It was subtle at first, and there was resistance. A part of me still equated structure with restriction. In practice, however, it created steadiness. Here's the part that matters. A little chaos at slow speed is manageable. You compensate. You absorb the cost. Under acceleration, however, chaos compounds. Speed doesn't create instability. It multiplies what is already loose. If your calendar is reactive and demand increases, you don't just become busier. You become fragmented. If your finances are loosely monitored and revenue grows, instability doesn't just vanish and disappear. It expands. If your boundaries are implied rather than clear, greater visibility doesn't strengthen them. It stretches them. Acceleration removes the buffer that previously hid the weakness. Small gaps widen. Unfinished threads tangle. Minor inefficiencies become structural faults. Which brings me to something I've been quietly observing for the last month or so. We have recently entered a fire horse year. The fire horse represents acceleration. It doesn't arrive to destroy stable systems. It accelerates within whatever already exists. So if the structure is sound, momentum strengthens it. If the structure is loose, however, speed exposes it. Acceleration does not negotiate. It reveals. What is slightly unstable will not remain just slightly unstable. This is not unusual. It's a natural process.